The Galactic Council's Grand Meeting Hall, a colossal expanse of polished obsidian and shimmering light, buzzed with an air of unshakable confidence. The council members, seated in their towering thrones, regarded the holographic projection of Earth with an aloof disdain. The image flickered with the colors of blue and green, a fragile gem in the vastness of space, oblivious to the approaching storm. "We've wasted enough time on this trifling species," sneered Councillor Glarin, his elongated fingers tapping rhythmically on the armrest. "Humanity's fear of war is their greatest weakness. Their pretensions of resistance are laughable." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. The council had long deemed Earth a backwater planet, its inhabitants mere primitives unworthy of serious consideration. Their plan was simple: a show of force to subdue and enslave, an operation so straightforward that it required little more than a show of superiority. In stark contrast, the atmosphere in Earth's military command center was tense, a crucible of high-stakes strategy and grim determination. Captain Marcus Hale, a man weathered by years of combat and strategy, stood in front of a holographic map of the Earth's defenses. His eyes, sharp and unyielding, traced the incoming trajectory of the alien fleet. "Prepare for a full-scale mobilization," Marcus commanded, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. His team, a group of seasoned officers and young recruits alike, moved with a focused efficiency, driven by their captain's unwavering resolve. Marcus's mind raced through every possible scenario, his tactical acumen drawing on years of experience. He knew the Council's attack was more than a mere display of power, it was a test of humanity's will. And he was determined to prove them wrong. The silence of space was shattered as the Galactic Council's fleet emerged from hyperspace, a menacing array of sleek, dark ships descending upon Earth. The initial strikes were devastating, a prelude to the full-scale invasion that was about to unfold. Cities burned, military bases crumbled, and the world seemed on the brink of collapse. Back in the command center, Marcus watched the chaos unfold on his screens, his jaw clenched in fierce resolve. His initial instinct was to panic, but he had learned long ago that panic was a luxury he could not afford. He turned to his team, their faces reflecting a mix of fear and determination. "This is it," Marcus said, his voice carrying a weight of authority. "They think we're too afraid to fight back. They think they can crush us without breaking a sweat. We're going to show them how wrong they are." He began issuing orders, his strategies shifting into high gear as his team rallied around him. Each command was a calculated move in a game of survival, a testament to human ingenuity and resilience. As the first waves of counterattacks launched from Earth's defenses, Marcus felt a flicker of hope. The initial skirmishes were brutal and fierce, but they also revealed the cracks in the Council's confidence. Humanity was not going to be easily subdued. The Galactic Council's meeting hall fell silent as the latest reports from Earth's defenses reached the Council members. The smirks faded from their faces, replaced by a dawning realization of the struggle ahead. Marcus Hale's name, unknown moments before, now buzzed with a new and unsettling significance. The battle had just begun, and the Council's arrogance was about to meet the full force of humanity's determination. In the shadow of devastation, the command center of Earth's military buzzed with frenetic energy. The vast array of holographic screens flickered with images of a planet under siege, the glow of burning cities contrasting starkly with the calculated calm of Captain Marcus Hale. The silence between orders was heavy, charged with the weight of impending action. "Captain Hale, the Council's fleet is advancing on New York," one of the officers announced, her voice taut with urgency. Marcus's eyes, shadowed by fatigue yet sharp with determination, locked onto the map. "Mobilize all available units," he commanded, his tone brooking no dissent. "We're not just defending, we're counterattacking." The streets of New York were a labyrinth of chaos, alien ships prowling above and military units scrambling below. Marcus's strategy hinged on disrupting the Council's advanced technology by exploiting their arrogance. He had devised a plan that involved unconventional tactics, using the urban landscape to create a maze of resistance that the Council's forces weren't prepared for. In the heart of the city, teams of soldiers and volunteers executed Marcus's plan with precision. They utilized every building, every alleyway, to create a network of ambushes and traps. The Council's advanced sensors struggled to adapt to the erratic patterns of human defense. What had initially seemed like disorganization was, in fact, a calculated ploy to wear down the invaders. Back in the command center, Marcus watched as the Council's forces stumbled into the traps laid out by his team. Despite their superior technology, the aliens found themselves repeatedly ensnared and outmaneuvered. The initial successes of the counterattacks were small victories but crucial in demonstrating humanity's resilience. "Captain, we've managed to slow their advance, but they're escalating their assault," reported another officer. Marcus nodded, his face set in grim determination. "They'll escalate," he said, "but we're ready. We need to hit them harder, make them question their assumptions about our capabilities." As night fell over New York, the city glowed with the fires of conflict. Marcus's counterattacks continued, each strike designed to sap the Council's confidence and disrupt their operations. The invaders, initially dismissive of humanity's resistance, were now forced to confront the reality of an enemy that refused to yield. In the midst of the chaos, a high-ranking Council officer, stunned by the unexpected resilience of Earth's defenses, reported back to the Galactic Council. The once clear path to victory was now fraught with complications, the confidence of the Council members giving way to frustration. Back at the Galactic Council's Grand Hall, murmurs of irritation and surprise spread among the members. Their initial arrogance had been replaced by a gnawing unease. The holographic projection of Earth now showed not just destruction but a resilient and unpredictable defense that defied their expectations. "The humans are more resourceful than anticipated," one Council member admitted begrudgingly. "They must be dealt with swiftly before their resistance grows stronger," another added. The Council's plan was faltering, and the realization that their conquest might not be as effortless as they had believed began to set in. As the battle raged on, the Galactic Council faced a new reality. Humanity was not merely a footnote in their grand design but a formidable opponent whose spirit was proving to be their greatest challenge. The stench of smoke and burning debris hung heavy in the air over New York as the city grappled with the aftermath of another night of fierce fighting. The Council's fleet, though damaged, still loomed ominously above the skyline, a stark reminder of the power arrayed against Earth. In the command center, Captain Marcus Hale paced with grim determination, his face illuminated by the harsh light of the tactical screens. "Status report," Marcus demanded, his voice steady but laced with urgency. "Council forces are regrouping," an officer replied, eyes fixed on the display. "They're preparing for a full-scale assault on our last defensive stronghold." Marcus's mind raced. The Council's confidence had only grown with their initial victories. They had underestimated human ingenuity, and now they were prepared to crush Earth's resistance with a decisive blow. It was time to escalate. In the heart of the city, amidst the crumbling skyscrapers and debris-strewn streets, Marcus deployed his most audacious strategy yet. His plan involved luring the Council's forces into a trap set at the city's central power grid, a location crucial to both the city's survival and the alien invaders' control over their energy supplies. Under cover of darkness, Marcus's team, clad in stealth gear and armed with makeshift EMP devices, infiltrated the area. They placed the devices strategically, rigging the grid to create a massive, temporary blackout. The plan was risky, but it was humanity's best chance to turn the tide. The blackout hit as expected, plunging the city into eerie darkness. Panic spread among the Council's forces, their advanced sensors and communications faltering in the absence of power. Marcus seized the moment, launching a coordinated series of attacks that struck at the heart of the disoriented fleet. In the chaos, the Council's superiority seemed to wane. Their ships, now vulnerable, were ambushed by Earth's fighters using guerrilla tactics. The clash of human ingenuity against alien technology reached a fever pitch as Marcus's plan unfolded with ruthless efficiency. On the bridge of the lead Council ship, the situation grew dire. Commander Laren, usually composed and calculating, struggled to regain control amidst the turmoil. "We're being overwhelmed," he shouted, his voice edged with frustration. "Deploy reinforcements immediately." The Council's arrogance had blinded them to the depth of human resolve. As their forces faltered, Marcus's team pressed their advantage, pushing the invaders back and reclaiming strategic positions. The balance of power began to shift, the tide of battle turning against the once confident council. In the command center, Marcus surveyed the changing battlefield with a mix of relief and resolve. The initial victory was a crucial turning point, but the war was far from over. "This isn't over yet," he said to his team, his voice a mixture of triumph and determination. "We've shown them what we're capable of, but we need to stay vigilant." As dawn broke over the ravaged city, the Galactic Council's grand meeting hall was abuzz with growing concern. The reports of setbacks and unexpected resistance were causing a stir among the members. The humans were no longer a trivial inconvenience. They had become a formidable adversary. The story of humanity's resilience had only just begun to unfold, and the Galactic Council now faced the daunting reality of a fight that was far from the easy conquest they had anticipated. The city lay in uneasy silence after the battle, the remnants of conflict casting long shadows over the streets. As dawn's first light seeped through the smoke-filled skies, the once ominous Galactic Council fleet was now a battered and retreating force, the invaders' retreat marked by a trail of wreckage and scorched earth. In the command center, Captain Marcus Hale stood amidst a sea of exhausted but triumphant faces. The initial victory had come at a high cost, but the tide had turned, and Earth's defenders had proved their mettle. Marcus's eyes, though weary, gleamed with the satisfaction of having defied expectations. "Captain, we've received a transmission from the Galactic Council," an officer announced, breaking the tense silence. The message was a formal request for negotiation, a stark contrast to their previous dismissive arrogance. Marcus nodded, his mind already racing ahead. "Prepare for the meeting. Let's make sure our terms are clear." In the heart of the Galactic Council's Grand Hall, the mood was one of palpable discomfort. The once gleaming seats and opulent surroundings now felt oppressive, weighed down by the reality of a struggle that had not gone as planned. The council members, their haughty airs diminished, gathered to address the unexpected turn of events. "We underestimated them," Councillor Glarin admitted, his voice low and begrudging. "Their resilience has proven more formidable than we anticipated. It's clear we must reconsider our approach," another council member added, frustration evident in their tone. "The humans have shown they can defy our expectations." The negotiation chamber was a stark contrast to the grandeur of the council's hall, a simple, utilitarian space that spoke to the seriousness of the discussions. Marcus, flanked by his top advisors, faced a delegation from the Galactic Council. The alien representatives, once arrogant, now bore expressions of cautious respect. Captain Hale, began the lead negotiator, their voice carrying an air of reluctant admiration. "Your actions have demonstrated that humanity is not only resilient but resourceful beyond our initial comprehension." Marcus's gaze was steady as he responded. "Our victory was hard-fought. We've shown that we're not to be underestimated. If there's to be a new understanding between our worlds, it must be founded on mutual respect and acknowledgement of our capabilities." The negotiations were intense, the discussions punctuated by moments of tension and concessions. The council, now faced with the reality of a more formidable opponent, was forced to offer terms that recognized humanity's strength and secured Earth's autonomy. As the negotiations drew to a close, an agreement was reached. The Galactic Council would retreat and cease their attempts at subjugation, acknowledging Earth's right to self-determination. In return, humanity agreed to engage in diplomatic relations, opening the door for future cooperation rather than conflict. Back on Earth, the news was met with a mixture of relief and cautious optimism. Marcus watched as the first rays of sunlight touched the city, a symbol of a new beginning. The battle was over, but the journey toward a new relationship with the galaxy had just begun. In the Galactic Council's hall, the members reflected on the changed dynamics. The humans had proven themselves not just as survivors but as worthy adversaries, deserving of respect and cautious diplomacy. As the sun rose over the battered city, Captain Marcus Hale stood among his people, a symbol of humanity's indomitable spirit. The victory had been hard-earned, but it had reshaped the future, demonstrating that even in the face of overwhelming odds, the human spirit could forge a path to understanding and respect. The stars overhead seemed to shimmer with new possibilities, and the galaxy, once so distant and indifferent, now held the promise of a future built on newfound respect and cooperation.